Staunton doesn't have too many president-elects. They say anywhere from 25 to 40,000 people. I've heard 30,000 people were here to greet the president as he got off the train. He was our favorite son. We got a little rowdy. Kids were lining the streets and climbing trees just so they can get a picture of the president.
The parade was one of the highlights of Wilson's visit. The occasion was heightened by the Virginia Military Institute's cadets, white-gloved and in full-dress uniform, who marched by the president-elect in lockstep. A warm salute reveals Wilson's admiration. In a speech he would make there, the president-elect informed the Virginian delegation that, though they had not supported him in the election, his policies would go a long way to heal their feelings of division and polarity, wounds that had yet to even heal a half-century after the Civil War.
I need hardly tell you that there has never been an occasion in my life when it was harder for me to make a speech than on this occasion. You will readily believe that today my thoughts are more of the past than of the future.
On March 4th, 1913, thousands of spectators looked on as Thomas Woodrow Wilson, in his signature tweed suit and pince-nez glasses, takes the oath of office as the 28th President of the United States. But this was not his first great moment as the country's new chief executive. For on December 28, 1912, having accepted an invitation by Staunton, Virginia's Woodrow Wilson Club, the president-elect's triumph is commemorated at his birthplace on a very special day.
Now, I am glad in some respects that you do not know everything that has transpired since I left Staunton, but I am conscious in coming back to this my native place of having attempted to square a great part of my life with the standards established in the olden time in the great Commonwealth of Virginia.
He kept putting off invitations. Everybody was inviting him to come someplace, to give speeches, to appear. The first exception he made was to come here to Staunton, because for his birthday, and the sentimental pilgrimage. And the story is, which apparently has been disputed now, that he slept in the bed that he was born in. Somebody later said that, somebody who lived here later on said that no, he'd actually slept upstairs because he thought that room on the ground floor was just a little too public. But at any rate, he came back and he spent the night in the place where he was born.
I think it's really fascinating. I'm glad you bring it up that after elected president, one of the first things he do is go back to honor his birthplace in Staunton, because this is a feature of Wilson's person that a lot of people don't understand, and it's hugely important to him and his career.
He had a severe cold, and he was prone to flu and things like that throughout his whole life. He had been bedridden on Christmas Day, December 25th. Defies doctor's orders and says, I am going to Staunton for this birthday celebration has been planned for me. And he writes, must go. The people of Virginia would be sadly disappointed if I failed. So in his mind, he's determined to get here for this celebration because it's about him. I'm sure that didn't happen a lot. I mean, being a professor and president of Princeton, you get acknowledgement and, people revere you in different ways. But this was about the native son coming home.
And in his speeches when he's here, he talks about the fact that, he finds it ironic that he's a Southerner from Virginia, but he's bringing greetings from the state of New Jersey. It was an opportunity for him to kind of seal the deal and link himself, because, Virginia is the mother of presidents and the mother of states. And of course, that gives him power. He was only the second Democrat elected since the Civil War. And he was the first technically Southern Democrat. And going to Staunton and publicly saying, I'm a Virginian, I'm from Virginia, this is my heritage, is a way of doing that.
For the torchlight procession on Friday evening, the committee, of which Daniel Porter is chairman, has provided 400 torches and 500 red lights. The latter will individually burn for 20 minutes, and by dividing the marchers into numbered relays, so that only 1/3 of the red lights are burning at a time, and through the duration of the parade. Daily Progress, December 24th, 1912.
By accepting the pre-inaugural invitation to his birthplace, Wilson wasn't simply paying homage to Staunton. He was honoring the supporters for his campaign. His accolades would go to the Woodrow Wilson Club of Staunton and Augusta County, founded by Peyton Cochran, a former law student of Wilson's at Princeton.
The first Woodrow Wilson for President group in Virginia, in the country. He thought he was a thinker and a doer, and he wanted him to be President of the United States.
Most Stantonians tended towards the populist side. They loved William Jennings Bryan, who tried and failed 3 times. So even though Stantonians were almost to a man Southern Democrats, they were a little wary of Wilson. They were suspicious of Wilson because the president they really wanted was William Jennings Bryan, but they had not had a Southern Democrat in the White House since before the Civil War. Grover Cleveland was a Democrat, but he wasn't one of them. On so many levels, it was the high point in all of Staunton history as far as creating an atmosphere of absolute jubilation.
A Virginia native, Woodrow Wilson, born of a highly inquisitive nature, has grown into a unique man with a deep understanding of what he can achieve as an intellect scholar and leader of a fast industrializing progressive society.
So Wilson, to me, he's got a lot of potential, and the fact, I keep going back to this, but the fact that they think he had dyslexia and that he overcame this physical handicap to go to a prestigious school like the University of Virginia in 1879. He's there for 10 months studying law. That's not easy. It's not easy today. It couldn't have been easy then. The different universities and how when he goes to Princeton, when he's a professor at Princeton, he's elected Professor of the Year consecutively for many years. His students would stand up and give him a standing ovation after classes sometimes. They were just so in awe of his intellect and his command of the English language and how he could explain things to them simply. That's a good educator.
Wilson's first love was his cousin, Harriet Hattie Woodrow, who was a student here at Augusta Female Seminary, what Mary Baldwin was called in those days. And Wilson really fell for her. And in fact, he got in some academic trouble at UVA because he cut classes to come over here and spend time with her. Well, it was one-sided. Hattie didn't reciprocate it.
We can look at this in also in a very important sense in that had he married, I mean, Hattie Woodrow, in a sense, could have drastically changed the course of history had she returned his affections, because he could very well have settled down and been an Ohio attorney. And it's unimaginable to kind of consider the world without Woodrow Wilson in it as the incredibly important politician and world figure that he came to be. So it's one of the great what ifs, what if had she said yes instead of no?
And so, first and last, I have had many associations with Staunton, all, however, of a boyish and, as compared with the present circumstances, a trivial character, and my thoughts of necessity look forward. Because, my friends, we are clearly entering upon a new age.
Virginia went all out on that cold winter afternoon for its honored guest. Staunton's most honored son comes home on Wilson Day, 1912.